Very nice to meet you again, Rohit.
Yeah.
And thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule. So, if you could just first let us know your name and your role, and then tell us a bit about what kind of business accomplishments have taken you to where you are today.
Okay, that's going to be a hard question to answer. My name is Rohit Sharma. I am currently a venture partner with True Ventures, which is an early stage tech investment venture capital firm in Palo Alto in San Francisco here in the Valley. I've been here for a couple of years in a formal role, and prior to that was an entrepreneur in the portfolio with True Ventures. How did I end up here? I would say a series of fairly random incidents, impulsive choices made by me along the way. There hasn't ever been a plan. I did not, when I was in school, undergraduate or graduate studies, think that I would be in a startup. This was not a goal. I was fortunate enough to do what I wanted to do in studies and graduate studies and the PhD program at the University of Alberta in Canada. And I had a job all lined up at a fairly large company, Nortel, which was at that time the largest telecom company in the world. And a group of researchers saw me at a conference in my field, which was optics, and asked me to come interview here for a company they had just started out of Stanford in Palo Alto. And I was doing all kinds of research, so I agreed to do that. As your grad student, they said we'll give you 1 week of free stay in San Francisco. I said, okay. When you're doing a PhD program on scholarships, anything like that is a very good vacation. So I came here, interviewed with them. At the end of the day, they offered me a job, which I would say very impulsively took. And the impulsive part of that was I had noticed, this was 96, 18 years ago now, that a lot of the things I was doing in my day-to-day work, beyond my academic area of work, which is telecommunications, was all being driven out of this area. I didn't know Silicon Valley. I didn't really know a lot of software. I knew vaguely what it was, and of course where it was and what it did. But I did not ever picture myself in it or being any part of it. But I had this sense, very strong sense, because the web had just come up. I taught myself programming. I built a few websites. I used to do some theater in graduate studies. I built a website for my theater group. And then I got more engaged with what was happening on the web, and that all was coming out of here. There was a very strong and a single center of all of that innovation. So that, coupled with the offer I had, just sort of intuitively made sense to me. I couldn't yet figure out why, but it was okay. So I came here, and within 6 months of coming here, I had spun out the company that I started out of that company. In telecommunications, we made very fast optical switches for application in large and small networks, metro networks, and ended up getting funding from very good tier 1 investors, Kleiner Perkins and More David Ventures. Then Cisco Systems invested, and very soon we had grown to a few hundred people and had raised 120 million in financing, and grew that to 600 plus people. And we're shipping to customers in Europe, in Asia, in the US, real equipment. And this was not a software company. This was transmission equipment that could do very fast links from data centers to nationwide networks. And we were very quickly number 1 or number 2 in the market with Nortel, Ericsson, and all these other telecom companies that had been there for decades. So that was a great education for me in startups, and what startups are, how you grow a company, how you grow people within the company. We went from a few people to almost 700 at the peak. So that was, I think, an education for a lifetime in how you do engineering, how you do development, how do you hire people, and everything had to be done very, very quickly. So from 1997 to 2002, in 5 years, we have gone through this whole ride. Then in 2002-03, the market really softened up, and we were acquired by a East Coast company, Ciena, which is now one of the largest telecom companies. They then acquired many other companies as well. And I didn't last very long there. It was a very big company. I'm not quite sure I know how to behave in a very large company. So to me, it seemed like we had a lot of meetings to figure out what other meetings we should have. So I came out of there. And then since then, I have done a few projects. 2 of them complete failures very quickly. Within 1 year, we knew it wasn't working and we moved on to something else. One of them in the mobile area is growing quite nicely. It's a company that I started with kids from Stanford. I seed funded them and I was the first CEO. And then after a year, I told them, you don't really need a CEO. You're doing really well. And even today, they don't have any other CEO. It's just the three of them running the company. So those somewhat random events that eventually took me to True Ventures. I knew the folks here. They had funded a small project that didn't really work out in e-commerce, machine learning recommendation engine for e-commerce sites. And at the conclusion of that, they said, well, I think we should try and figure out a way of working together. So here I am.
Very cool. Thank you.
So none of this was planned.
Which is also a plan. Not a plan, maybe.
No, I'm not very good at making plans.